Johnny Football is widely regarded as one of the biggest quarterback what-ifs in NFL history, which begs the question, what happened to the players drafted after the Texas A&M phenom? Would Cleveland have been better off drafting one of these players instead? That's what we'll be discussing today. In this video, we'll be going over the 31 players taken after Johnny Manziel in the 2014 NFL Draft and how their careers have panned out. Starting with the 23rd overall pick by the Kansas City Chiefs, Dee Ford. Ford played ball at Auburn. He was one of those players who took a couple of years to get going professionally, but once he became a full-time starter in his third season, he was a big-time threat on the edge, recording 10 sacks that season, showing his true potential. Ford would record a career-high 13 sacks with the Chiefs in 2018 and make his one and only Pro Bowl team before heading to the Bay to play for the 49ers. After 3 years there, including only 2 starts, he would be out of the league. Picks 24 and 25 were a pair of cornerbacks, Darqueze Dennard from Michigan State to the Bengals at 24, and Jason Verrett from TCU to the Chargers at 25. Dennard had a few solid years as a starter in Cincy, while Verrett had all the potential in the world, even making a Pro Bowl with San Diego in 2015. But injuries would be very detrimental to his career, which is unfortunate considering how good he used to be when healthy. Verrett is currently a league backup, and Dennard is out of the league. The next 2 picks are a pair of linebackers. The Eagles selected Marcus Smith of Louisville at 26, and the Cardinals took Deion Buchanan of Washington State at 27. Smith was a career special teamer, recording only 38 total tackles in his short 5-year career, and Buchanan actually was drafted as a safety before moving to linebacker due to his size, where he would have an up-and-down 7-year career, only 4 of which being as a starter. Both average picks at best. With the 28th pick, the Panthers selected 6'5" receiver Kelvin Benjamin from Florida State. Benjamin had an outstanding rookie year, catching 73 passes for 1,008 yards and 9 touchdowns, showing that he was going to be wreaking havoc for a long time. Well, that's not quite what happened. The following season, Benjamin would tear his ACL before even making it to the regular season. And despite having a decent comeback in 2016, Benjamin would start to gain weight, showing his lack of effort to be a consistently good pro. He would bounce between Buffalo and Carolina and would eventually be out of the league by 2018. All the potential in the world, but couldn't do anything with it. At 29, the New England Patriots chose Dominic Easley from Florida, a defensive tackle who would only play 4 below-average seasons in the NFL. With the 30th pick, the 49ers would select Jimmy Ward from Northern Illinois. Ward has been a very consistent starting safety in his time in the league. He's never been a Pro Bowler, but he always gives you exactly what you would want to expect from his position. Ward is the only player we've named so far who is still an NFL starter. He starts at safety and is a valuable mentor for the up-and-coming Houston Texans. Pick 31 was Ohio State cornerback Bradley Roby to the Broncos. Roby was a solid pick by Denver. He fell in the draft due to character concerns. The Broncos took a chance on Roby, and he would then play very well during his time in Mile High, even being a key contributor to the Broncos winning Super Bowl 50. He then went on to have 2 successful seasons as a Texan before moving on to New Orleans, where his career would slowly start to decline. Roby is currently a backup for the Eagles. With the last pick in the first round, the Vikings selected quarterback Teddy Bridgewater from Louisville. Teddy Two Gloves would have a solid start to his career, even making the Pro Bowl in his second NFL season. However, Bridgewater would suffer one of the scariest injuries in NFL history, causing him to miss the entire 2016 season, and before long, he was a career backup. Bridgewater would have 2 more opportunities to start for the Panthers and the Broncos in 2020 and 2021 respectively, but never reached the Pro Bowl level he used to be at. Bridgewater just recently retired from the NFL to coach high school football. The Texans would start the second round by selecting Xavier Su'a-Filo, a decent guard from UCLA who only started 2 seasons before exiting out of the league in 2021. Picks 34, 35, and 36 would all be all-pro level players. Defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence of Boise State to the Cowboys, and guard Joel Bitonio of Nevada to the Browns, and Fresno State quarterback Derek Carr to the Raiders. Three completely distinct players, but three very well-respected veterans who have all had very good careers. Multiple Pro Bowls between the three shows how good they truly are. Bitonio is having the most success late in his career, as he's arguably still in his prime, but back in the mid to late 2010s, Lawrence and Carr were huge contributing players in their own right. Lawrence and Bitonio are still playing great football with the teams that drafted them, and Carr is currently the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints after playing 9 seasons with the Raiders. At 37, Rashid Hageman would be taken by the Falcons. Hageman was a below-average nose tackle who would only play 3 seasons as a pro. Picks 38 and 39 would both be pass catchers with short NFL careers. Austin Seferian-Jenkins to the Buccaneers at 38 and Marquise Lee to the Jaguars at 39. Seferian-Jenkins played only 5 seasons, never having a season with more than 357 yards. Lee would also play only 5 seasons, but the difference between Lee and Seferian-Jenkins is that Lee had one very productive season, recording 851 receiving yards in 2016. Both would be out of the league by 2019. With the 40th pick, the Lions selected outside linebacker Kyle Van Noy. Van Noy didn't get much playing time in his first 2 seasons before he was traded to the Patriots halfway through the 2016 season. Van Noy would instantly become an impact guy for the Patriots, as he would play a huge part in their wins at Super Bowl 51 and Super Bowl 53. Van Noy would start to bounce around the league in 2020, as he would be on different teams year to year before finding himself signing with the Baltimore Ravens in Week 4 of the 2023 season, where he would go on to have the best single season of his career with 9 sacks in only 14 games. Van Noy's future is questionable at the moment, but after his career resurgence, we're sure he's going to continue to make an impact somewhere. Pick 41, the Rams took LaMarcus Joyner from Florida State. Joyner was a solid safety for multiple teams, but played for the Rams for the majority of his career. The 42nd pick, the Eagles selected Vanderbilt receiver Jordan Matthews. Matthews had a very promising first 3 seasons as a pro, recording over 800 yards in each season and catching 8 touchdowns in 2 of them. But after signing with the Bills prior to his 4th season, his career would go down the gutter. Picks 43 and 44 would both be offensive linemen who would both play 6 or fewer seasons. Weston Richburg to the New York Giants at 43, who would start almost every game until his retirement, and Cyrus Kwanjo, who would only start 8 games in his career. 45th overall was Colorado receiver Paul Richardson to the Seahawks, who, outside of a 700-yard performance in 2017, would be a perennial backup with both Seattle and the Washington Redskins before being out of the league by 2020. At pick 46, Stephon Tuitt would head to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he was a very solid starter for 7 years before retiring from football. The 47th pick would also be a career starter for the most part, as Washington would select Trent Murphy. Murphy had a few good seasons as a starting outside linebacker, but would be out of the league by 2021 after 3 seasons with Washington and 3 seasons with the Bills. 48th pick, Tim Jernigan to the Ravens. Jernigan was a very solid piece for Baltimore before signing with the Eagles in 2017 and playing a part in their Super Bowl 52 victory. Jernigan would leave Philly in 2020 and play with both the Broncos and the Jaguars before retiring following this season. With the 49th pick, the Jets selected Jace Amaro, a tight end who would only play 2 seasons in the NFL. Picks 50 and 51 would both be special teamers. Jeremiah Atashu to the Chargers at 50 and Ego Ferguson to the Bears at 51. Atashu would bounce around the league until 2023, having a pretty successful special teams career, and Ferguson would only play 20 games as a pro. Pick 52 was a prospect that should have gone in the top 8 of the draft. The Green Bay Packers selected Davante Adams from Fresno State. Adams has been an all-pro receiver during his time in Green Bay and Las Vegas. Number 17 is the best receiver in the NFL, and he dropped all the way down to the 52nd pick. That's it. Those were the 31 players taken after Johnny Manziel in the 2014 NFL Draft. Do any of these players go over Manziel in a redraft? Who would Cleveland take? Let us know in the comments. College football has definitely beheld some real household names over the years. Guys like Reggie Bush, Tim Tebow, Bo Jackson, and Vince Young have created a ton of buzz due to their dominant play on the field. But arguably, no college football player in history has created more buzz and more people recognize him than Johnny Football himself. Manziel was not only one of the most brash quarterbacks in the history of college football, but he also had the talent to back it up. He had significant victories over a prime Alabama football squad led by the legendary Nick Saban, but he couldn't get past dope and alcohol. He would fall all the way down to the 22nd pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, being drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately for NFL fans, and especially the Browns, Manziel wouldn't live up to the hype. Not only was his play poor, but he got in trouble with the law by his second season, which ultimately would be his last in the NFL. Shout out to the 1% of you who support our channel by being a subscriber and watching our videos. We just want to let you know that we appreciate you a lot. For you 99%ers, if you like what you're watching, please be a helper and sub to our channel so that you can say I was here when they were small. If you don't like it, tell us why. We're open to criticism. That's how we get better. Thank you for watching The Halftime Show.